One Manchester-based homeowner has discovered that her flat had been valued at nothing by lenders. Helen Brierley wished to remortgage her flat in Southampton after she decided to relocate to Manchester to be closer to her family. Unbeknownst to her, the flat's building was partly covered with dangerous cladding material. While the government has promised to fund the removal of ACM cladding, which is the type that covered Grenfell Tower, Helen's building is covered with a different type of dangerous cladding material. Subsequently, a broker valued her property at zero, making the proposition of either selling or refinancing unforeseeable in the near future. The government says it is working with lenders and surveyors to try and make sure that sales go through smoothly.
We are working very closely with stakeholders to ensure there is a standardised way that advice can be provided and that each individual building can have a single document setting out the fire safety position for owners when they come to sell their property.
We spoke to Helen Brierley herself, and she told us that the valuation led to a chain reaction of different issues.
I went to a broker who went to several different lenders. After the valuation of zero came in from this particular lender's surveyor, I was told by the broker that there would be no other products available for me, that no other mortgages, no bank would be willing to lend money on a flat that's unsafe, basically. Also, the freeholder who owns the outside of the building, they're demanding money from each of us flat owners to replace the cladding and also to pay for a 24-hour waking watch, like a fire patrol. So I don't know exactly how much it's going to cost yet, but it's certainly going to be over 20,000, maybe even reaching to 60,000, 70,000 pounds each. To be honest, I don't think the fault is with the lender. I think the fault is with the government. The government allowed these buildings to be built with unsafe materials in the first place. The government certified the building as being safe. It had all the necessary building regulations, and they allowed these materials to be used on these buildings when they shouldn't have in the first place. So I think the government has to take some responsibility, if not all, because if they hadn't allowed these materials in the first place, you know, all those people in the Grenfell Tower wouldn't have died, for one thing, and people like me wouldn't be stuck in these awful situations.
She also told us that most of her pleas seem to have fallen on deaf ears.
I've tried everything. I've written to my local MP several times. They've not replied. I've written to the Minister for Housing. He hasn't replied either. I've actually been to a meeting of the management company, and I tried to meet all the other leaseholders and try to get them on board. There was only a handful of people there, really, and they didn't seem that interested. I don't think they really grasped the situation because they weren't even aware of it, as I wasn't before I tried to remortgage. I feel like I don't know what else to do now other than talk to the press and try and get some attention onto the issue, because it's not just me, it's tens of thousands of people in the same situation. I think the fact that, you know, the Grenfell report, it's the perfect time to talk about this issue, really, because I feel like the government are just trying to blame everyone else, trying to blame the fire service. Of course, there were mistakes with how the fire service acted on the night, but they're avoiding the real issue is they allowed these materials to be put onto the buildings in the first place.